Lobster. In colonial New England, lobster was so abundant it washed up on beaches in piles after storms. Servants and prisoners negotiated legal limits on how often they could be forced to eat it. Lobster was used as fertilizer, fish bait, and pig feed. It was the food of the desperate. Then, railroads allowed fresh lobster to be shipped inland to wealthy city dwellers who had never seen one. People who had never eaten lobster decided it was exotic and desirable. The most hated food on the New England coast became a luxury item within a single generation. The lobster did not change. The audience did.
Caviar. In 19th century American saloons, black caviar was served free at the bar alongside pretzels and peanuts. The logic was simple. Caviar is intensely salty. Salt makes people thirsty. Thirsty people buy more drinks. Russian fishermen on the Volga ate it daily because sturgeon were everywhere, and caviar was what you scooped out before selling the fish. Overfishing destroyed the sturgeon population. Scarcity arrived. Prices exploded. A free bar snack designed to increase alcohol consumption became one of the most expensive foods on Earth because the fish that produced it nearly disappeared entirely.
Oysters. In 1800s London and New York, oysters were the cheapest street food available. Poor families bought them by the bucket because they cost less than bread. Dickens wrote about London's poorest characters eating oysters because oysters were what poor people ate. New York Harbor contained oyster beds so vast they filtered the entire harbor's water supply every few days. Then, overharvesting destroyed the beds completely. Supply collapsed. Price skyrocketed. The food that fed the Victorian poor became a luxury product at upscale restaurants within decades. A food associated with poverty became associated with sophistication purely because there was no longer enough of it. Otoro. Fatty tuna belly, called otoro in Japanese, was thrown away or fed to cats in Japan until the mid-20th century. The high fat content caused it to spoil within hours of the catch, making it commercially worthless before refrigeration. Japanese fishermen discarded the most valuable part of the fish every single day for centuries. Refrigerated transport changed everything. The fat that made otoro spoil quickly is precisely what gives it a buttery texture that no other fish produces. The part of the tuna that fishermen threw away now sells for thousands of dollars per kilogram at Tokyo's Toyusu market. The cats ate better than they knew. Oxtail. Oxtail was butcher's waste. The tail of a cow composed of vertebrae and connective tissue with almost no actual meat was sold for pennies or given away because nobody wanted it. Poor families slow-cooked it for hours because they had no choice and no budget for better cuts. The collagen in the connective tissue dissolved into a gelatin-rich broth, so satisfying that every culture that cooked it independently discovered the same thing. Jamaican oxtail stew, Italian coda alla vaccinara, Korean kodi gomtong, all from the same throwaway cut. Today, oxtail costs more per kilogram than many premium steaks at specialist butchers.
Bone marrow. Bone marrow was peasant food for most of Western history because it required cracking bones that butchers discarded after selling the meat. The marrow itself, a rich fatty substance that produces blood cells in living animals, roasts into a gelatinous butter-like consistency with a flavor more intense than any muscle cut. British chef Fergus Henderson put roasted bone marrow on the menu at St. John Restaurant in London in 1994, and food writers declared it a revelation. Within a decade, it had migrated from butcher scraps to upscale restaurant menus globally. Bone marrow now costs more per gram than the steaks served alongside it.
Escargot. Escargot sounds like a French luxury. It is a French peasant survival food. During famines and poor harvests in ancient Rome and medieval France, people ate snails because snails were free, slow-moving, and required no hunting skill. Peasants who could not afford meat collected them from garden walls. French cuisine absorbed the preparation and refined it with garlic butter and parsley. Presentation transformed the perception. The same snail that desperate peasants gathered during food shortages is now served in restaurants at prices that would have seemed absurd to the people who invented the dish out of necessity.
Polenta. Polenta is ground cornmeal cooked in water until thick. For centuries, it was the only food available to the poorest rural communities of northern Italy.
Peasants ate it 3 times a day because it was filling, cheap, and required nothing beyond corn and water. Pellagra, a disease caused by severe niacin deficiency, spread through communities that ate almost nothing else. Polenta was associated so strongly with poverty that escaping it meant escaping polenta. Then, Italian restaurants in New York and London put it on their menus in the 1990s as a rustic, artisan side dish. The food of Italian peasant poverty became a premium restaurant accompaniment charged at premium prices. Salmon. In 18th and 19th century Scotland and New England, salmon was so abundant that it was considered an embarrassment to serve repeatedly. Household servants negotiated contracts that legally limited how often their employers could feed them salmon. 3 times a week maximum was a common clause. Salmon was the food you served when you had nothing better. Atlantic salmon populations collapsed through overfishing and river pollution. The wild salmon that servants refused to eat more than 3 times weekly became a premium product. Farm-raised salmon now dominates global supply. A fish once contractually limited to protect servants from excessive consumption sells today as a luxury ingredient.
Sardines. Sardines fed factory workers, sailors, and soldiers throughout the industrial era because they were the cheapest source of protein available in preserved form. The sardine canning industry existed specifically to provide affordable nutrition to people who could not afford better. In Portugal, workers ate them daily. In France, they were wartime rations. Then artisan producers began aging sardines in olive oil for years, allowing the fish to develop complex flavors similar to fine wine. Aged sardines from specific Portuguese producers now sell for $30 to $50 per tin. A food specifically designed to be affordable because nothing cheaper was available became a collectible luxury product sold by vintage year.
Prosciutto. Prosciutto requires exactly 2 ingredients: pork and salt. Nothing else. The leg is rubbed with sea salt and hung to cure for anywhere between 12 and 36 months. No smoking, no cooking, no additional preservation, just salt, time, and controlled air. Parma prosciutto carries protected designation of origin status, meaning it can only be produced in one specific region of Italy. A single aged leg can cost over $500. The most expensive ones are aged longer than most people's relationships.
Smoked beef brisket. Texas smoked brisket is the most studied and debated barbecue preparation in American food culture. A full packer brisket weighs between 8 and 16 pounds and requires 12 to 16 hours of oak smoke at 225 degrees to reach the internal temperature where the collagen converts to gelatin and the point and flat become sliceable. The bark, the dark exterior crust of rendered fat and dried spice rub, is considered a delicacy by barbecue purists. Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas, has had lines beginning before dawn every day since it opened in 2009. A single restaurant selling smoked brisket has generated more food journalism per square foot than almost any other restaurant in American history. People wait 4 hours for it. Nobody has reported regretting the wait.
Pork belly burnt ends. Burnt ends were originally the scraps. When pitmasters in Kansas City finished smoking a brisket, the pointed end was darker, crispier, and considered less presentable than the flat. They gave them away free at the counter or sold them cheap. Food writer Calvin Trillin wrote about them in 1972 and called them the best part of the brisket. Demand reversed overnight. Pitmasters started charging more for burnt ends than for regular brisket slices. Pork belly burnt ends appeared later as a variation, cubing pork belly and smoking it until the exterior caramelizes into candy-like pieces. The scraps became the premium item. Foie gras. Foie gras is the fattened liver of a duck or goose produced by force-feeding the bird through a tube for the final weeks of its life. The process is called gavage. It has been practiced since ancient Egypt, where carvings showing forced feeding of geese date back over 4,000 years. France considers foie gras a protected cultural and gastronomical heritage. California banned it in 2012, reinstated it, banned it again, and reinstated it again. The legal history of foie gras in California involves more court cases than most criminal trials. A 4,000-year-old Egyptian technique is simultaneously a French national treasure and a California legal crisis.
Bouillabaisse. Bouillabaisse started as poor man's food.
Marseille fishermen threw unsellable fish, the ones too bony, too ugly, too small for market, into a pot with water, saffron, and whatever herbs grew nearby. The result was never meant to be elegant. Today, a single bowl at a traditional Marseille restaurant costs over 60 euros. The same dish that fed people who could not afford better food now requires a reservation at a table with a view of the harbor. The fish did not change, the price tag did.